What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Welcome back to another Dividend Happy Hour. Hope everyone had a great week. What a crazy, crazy week in the stock market. A lot of red. Certainly in my portfolio. Let me show you guys real quick where we are currently sitting. So let's jump over to the screen. Oh, it's not pulled up here. Let me add that. And let me know what you think of this new view. I'm trying out a different layout. Saw someone else using this type of layout. I thought it looked cool. So let me know. Let me know what you think. But here's where the portfolio is sitting, guys. $128,000. So we took quite a haircut this week. Today was a pretty tough day, down 1.3%. Looking at some of the holdings, if we zoom in here just a little bit, it looks like, some pretty big hits across the board. KRC down over 3%. Realty Income down close to 3%, Blue Owl 2.5%, Snap-on down 1%, Vici Properties taking the biggest hit of the day, down over 4%. And then we had some others like WP Carey, Williams-Sonoma, and Watsco, all down over 2%. So yeah, pretty tough day. Let me know in the chat real quick, guys. Let me know in the chat, what were some of your worst performing stocks this week? Out of all of your holdings, which ones took the biggest hits? Let me know that in the chat. I'd be curious to know where everyone's at. And also, let me know too. Maybe some of you guys are actually up this week. Let me know in the chat if you're up this week. And I know we started the stream a few minutes early, so we'll kind of ease into it a little bit. Sam here says Bloom Energy and Rhythm. Yeah, Trevor says LDI and RKT, Rocket Lab. I think it's Rocket Lab, right? Oh, Rocket Companies, excuse me. Yeah, Vasco says it, Bloodbath, absolutely. Anders says Realty Income and Vici were the worst. Yeah. Yeah, Vici is now, what was the share price? Here, let's put this back up on the screen. So Vici was down 4% today. Now it's under $27 per share. That's pretty crazy. Hatchet says Tesla. Vasco says Badger Meter. Yeah, Badger Meter's right there at his 52-week low. Oh, El Patron, this is nice. The only thing up this week are the amount of naps I take to avoid looking at the red. I hear you, my friend. And that actually brings up a pretty good point. I think, for a lot of investors, especially investors who are maybe just now getting into the market, maybe this is, the first time you're experiencing this type of volatility, and things have been very volatile, very, very chaotic. And so, if this is your first time going through this, just know it's kind of a semi-regular occurrence in the stock market. Things go up, things go down. It just kind of is what it is. And during these times, if it ever gets to be too much, I don't think there's anything wrong with just kind of stepping away from your portfolio for a bit, kind of like El Patron. Just instead of checking Robinhood or checking Charles Schwab every 5 minutes, just go take a nap, go take a walk, go for a jog. And, chances are when you come back, your holdings are still going to be there. They're still going to be rocking and rolling. So, Sir Dude Broman is loving this red. Yes. Brendelson's down, or Thomas is down. VST was his worst performer, excuse me. Yeah, El Patron's used to it. I hear you. Yeah, Jeff says it's time for buying sprees on stocks. There you go. Yeah, oil and gas. Chevron, guys. If we look at Chevron, it's actually up over $200 per share right now. That is pretty wild. So, yeah, Lashinsky says hard not to keep buying the dip while trying to wait as it's just dropping. Yeah, that's kind of the tricky thing, is you want to buy the dip, but you don't want to blow your load too soon, right? Because then you're all out of ammunition, you're all out of dry powder, and it keeps dipping. Man, you want to take advantage of that. Okay. Split. So here, let me see if I can edit this real quick, Thomas. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm adjusting the layout on the fly. I've never done this before, guys. So let me know if you're cool with this, if it works. Boom. How's that? There we go. It looked like it worked. A little bit bigger. Yeah, if this is your first experience with the red market and you're a dividend growth investor, I'd say it calls for some confetti and a celebration. That's right. Because it's great. It's great being able to buy these stocks for lower share prices and be able to lock in a higher yield on cost, be able to make your investment dollars stretch farther. That's a great thing. But guys, it is now officially the top of the hour. So why don't we kick this thing off the best way we know how? Grab whatever it is you're sipping on here. Let's hide the screen for a sec. Grab whatever it is you're sipping on, guys. Cheers. Here's to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me tonight. It's going to be a fun stream. And also, here's to the dividends, right? Here's to the pursuit of that sweet, sweet cash flow, because that's really what's bringing us all together tonight. But nonetheless, cheers. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, yeah. So, guys, tonight we got a little Fanta, zero sugar, orange soda. Fun fact is, like, I think it's my favorite soda of all time. It would be between orange soda or, and I know I've mentioned this before, this is very specific, Jones Blue Bubblegum Soda, but I got to give it up for orange soda. And with that said, let me know a few things here in the chat, guys. Number one, I want to know, what did you buy this week? All this talk of buying the dip. What did you buy the dip on? Let me know that in the chat. Number two, I want to know, what are you sipping on tonight? What did you bring to drink to the dividend happy hour? Number three, I want to know if anything cool happened in your guys' portfolios. I know we're probably not going to hear many, if any, all-time highs, but if you hit any other milestones in your portfolio this week, share that in the chat as well. And also number four, I want to know if we have any first-timers here in the dividend happy hour. Let me know if this is your first time tuning into the live stream. In case it is, welcome aboard. We typically do this live stream every Friday night starting right about now, right about 4 p.m. Pacific time. And it's always a good time. And on that note, I do want to share next week, guys, we will not be live streaming. We won't be doing the happy hour. I'm actually going to be out of town next week. So I won't be around to stream, and I apologize for that. So let's see what else we got here. I see some coffee. Looks like Adam's in the building. Hey, Adam. Yeah, pretty loco over there drinking some water, man. Only one, because you have to drive later. So only one water for you. Yeah, there we go. Firefly says, howdy from West Virginia, enjoying a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Great pickups there. Handful of great funds with some alphabet. Yeah, Seth, this is a good question about, oops, right here. Being able to balance extra money, investing and enjoying it. We'll circle back to this one. Yeah, Rui, we started the stream a few minutes early, but you didn't really miss much. We're just kind of getting warmed up. But good to see you, my friend. Happy to see you in the chat. El Dynamico, Antonio's here, says heavily loading up on Aries Capital, Blue Owl, and Verse. Oh, maybe Vici. Maybe he means Vici. Taking advantage of the new 52-week low. Yes, right now having a cup of Joe. Nice. All the way in West Sac, Antonio. Cup of Joe for Antonio. Vasco, what's this question here? So with companies having to pay more as dividend yields rise. Okay, good question. We'll circle back to, well, no, let's talk about this real quick. So as dividend yields go up, this, you know what, this might be a good question. Yeah, so this is a good question. So dividend yields rising doesn't necessarily mean that the companies are paying out more in dividends. It can. Excuse me. Let's say hypothetically a stock share price is $100 per share and they pay out $3 per year in dividends. That would mean they have a 3% dividend yield. Well, if, you know, they decided to raise the dividend 50% and now they're paying out, which would be a sweet raise, but from there they'd be paying out $4.50 in dividends instead of $3, then yes, the yield would go up to 4.5% because they're now, you know, paying more in dividends. But obviously another scenario in which dividend yield, and more likely in which dividend yields will be higher, is if the share price is coming down. And if the share price is coming down and that's what's pushing the dividend yield up, then the company isn't paying out more in dividends. They're likely paying out the same amount in dividends as they were, especially if it's like a day-to-day fluctuation or even over the past few weeks. Like if the dividend yield goes up because the share price is coming down, once again, it doesn't mean that they're paying out more in dividends. It just means that the share price has gone down. So that's why the dividend yield is higher than it was before. So hopefully that makes sense. And as far as like slowing dividend growth, I don't know if it was you or someone else that recently asked this in a live stream, but it might have been you, Vasco. I don't know, but someone asked about, I feel like it was you, man. Yeah, someone asked, what do you look for to kind of gauge whether or not dividend growth could slow down? And for that, you'll want to look at the fundamentals. You'll want to look at things like mainly free cash flow, but you want to look at the entire picture. You'll want to look at sales. You'll want to look at net income, earnings per share, and free cash flow as well. And the trajectory of those things can kind of, and also the payout ratio, excuse me, definitely look at the payout ratio in relation to all of those other things too. And being able to cross-reference those can kind of help determine whether or not a company might have to slow down their dividend growth. Hopefully that makes sense. And I think we talked about this last week, or I might have mentioned, I think I wrote about it in a recent newsletter and will feature it in an upcoming Q&A video if I haven't already. Yeah, I see some, wait, what? Sir Dude Bro, man, you are a wild one, let me tell you. Oh yeah, Antonio, no worries. I knew, I had a feeling you were talking about Vici Properties. I caught that one, so good stuff. Yeah, Coach is in the building, bought 1 share of Chevron. Nice position, 94 shares. That's great. That's fantastic. Anders bought the usual suspects, right? SCHD, Realty Income, Mid-America. And man, congratulations. Round of applause. Cheers. This is what we should be cheersing tonight. Here's to Anders. House paid off. Got the notice from the bank. It's official. Congratulations, my friend. That's huge. Yeah, Rui had some good pickups, Visa and Vici. And we didn't even talk about Visa, guys. What is it at right now? If we go back over here, I love doing this now. I love bringing this up on the screen. I really like this layout. It's fun. It's the little things. I don't know why I get excited about that, but so I looked at one point, Visa was under $300 per share. It's 301.62 right now. It's up for the day. But at some point, either today or yesterday, I did see it at 299 and some change. So that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. I put out a short actually on Visa this morning, and someone, I asked at the end of it if it was, a good time to buy, and someone said it's a buy at 220. So, which I think it'd be a screaming buy at 220, but I don't mind it at 300, 299, Yeah, Chris sipping his Ghost as per usual. Jefferson with some matcha, very nice. Korean Cardboard sipping a latte with SPYI, good pickup. Yeah, a lot of good pickups. Fast Eddie's in the building. Good to see everyone. 105 people in the stream. And real quick, guys, if you're enjoying this live stream, if you're having fun so far, be sure to hit the thumbs up button on this stream one time. There's 111 of us in the stream now. If we don't have 111 thumbs up, we're doomed. We're done for. But yeah, I would appreciate it. But continuing on with the chat, scrolling down. Yeah, I see Sissom picked up some Visa and SCHG. There you go. Oh yeah, Jose getting ready for a run. I saw Craig in here too. Craig's on a run right now. So Craig, keep it up. Jose, hope you have a good run. And go crush it. Nice. Terrence, still buying BTC. I got my first dividend today. That's awesome. So was this your first dividend just from BTCI, or is this your first dividend ever? Let me know in the chat. Either way, congrats. Dan's in the building. Danley the Manly. What's up, Dan? Bought some Visa this morning. Nice. And just hit 100 shares of SCHD. That is huge. Congratulations. That's a big one. Okay, sorry, guys. Yeah, this is an interesting question. Don't you think American stock markets, basically, don't you think, I think what the question is here is, don't you think there are better opportunities for dividend stocks in the European markets because typically they come with higher yields? Yeah, potentially there's some solid dividend payers in Europe. I think that the dividend policies are a bit different. It doesn't seem like European companies are, and correct me if I'm wrong too, but from what I've gathered so far, it doesn't seem like European companies are as committed to maintaining steady dividends. They tend to fluctuate a bit more, or cut them altogether. We just recently saw this with Evolution. They just cut it out of nowhere. So I think that there's some trade-offs, but there's some great European dividend payers I like. I mean, LVMH is a great company. I think L'Oreal is a great company. I was heavily considering those at one point, but I don't know. I think it's just easier as someone in the US to buy US companies. And there's plenty of great companies here. Let's see. Wow. Tim, look at this. Hit $6,000 in annual dividends this week. Congratulations, 6K. What does that break down to every month? Is that $500 a month? I should be able to do that math off the top of my head. I think it's $500. Yeah, $500 a month. Congrats. That's huge. 500 big ones. Yeah, thoughts on any good utility stocks? I don't spend a whole lot of time. I really don't spend too much time looking at utilities, but I've always liked American States Water, AWR. I think that's a solid one. Duke is typically regarded as a higher quality utility. I used to own Southern Company as well, and that one was a good investment for me. I actually used to own PG&E back in the day too, because that was always our utility company growing up. And yeah, that one turned out not to be a good investment. Took a long time for that one to start recovering. I don't even know if it has since fully recovered, but yes, I totally forgot to bring this up. So today is SCHD's official Reconstitution Day. So today they've shuffled things around. We won't know the actual results until Monday. And I'm really glad you brought this up because I wanted to mention Monday, the 23rd, I'll be putting out 2 videos. I'll be putting out one video, one normal recorded video, like as soon as I can Monday. Just kind of breaking down the results, what the changes are. I like to do one of those videos every year. So as soon as I can put that out Monday, that video is going out. And then in the afternoon, actually at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, I will be doing a live stream with Russ and Craig. This kind of become our annual tradition, which has been a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll be live streaming together Friday night here on the channel to go over the Reconstitution and just shoot the breeze. It'll be fun. So you guys, definitely a lot of good SCHD content coming out on Monday. It's going to be a really fun live stream. I'm excited to talk to the guys. It's been too long. Okay. Yeah. So question about Microsoft, Visa, and MasterCard. Yeah, question about GE. We can take a look at those. Yeah, Sir Duderman, to be honest with you, I don't remember what my first dividend was. I would have to go back and look in Schwab. But their history online only goes back so far. So I don't even know if I'd be able to go. I don't even know if I'd be able to go back far enough to see the first dividend. Maybe I'll try and find it at some point. And if I do, I'll share it. Yeah, Adam, thank you for sharing this one too. NextEra is supposed to be a pretty good utility company as well. Ooh, TKO. That's the company that owns like the UFC, right? TKO Group, or am I thinking of something different? So TKO is, I could have sworn it was. Yeah. Oh, okay. So kind of, sort of the company. Yeah. UFC, WWE, and IMG. Okay. Yeah. We'll take a look at this one. We'll add that one to the list. Any thoughts on General Mills? I feel like we've looked at that one quite a bit. We'll take another look at General Mills too. Okay, so let's go through some of these questions, guys. This first one actually was from Seth, and I'm going to screenshot this question because it's a really good one. I think it'd be worth covering in a future video, future newsletter. And I want to know your guys' thoughts on this question in the chat as well, how you deal with this. So Seth wants to know, I struggle with balancing using my extra money with investing and enjoying it. What's your advice what's your advice on that and how do you invest? Yeah, I think it's and I might be all over the place with this response, so I'll apologize in advance. But I think this is something that all investors struggle with. For two reasons. I actually maybe it's more than two reasons. The first reason is because this is a hobby for a lot of us. You don't really have to twist our arms to invest more money. Like that's where we would prefer to put as much money as we can. So, I think that's one thing that definitely makes it difficult to separate investing money and spending money, or rather like enjoying the money that you have, because for a lot of us, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I would imagine for all of us watching, it's enjoyable to actually put your money into the market, into your portfolio, and take steps closer to financial freedom. I personally get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing my dividend income going up every single week, and the portfolio value as well. So I think that can make it difficult to strike a balance. Because I think along with that, there's maybe pressure, like external pressure or expectation to spend money instead of invest money. Sorry, guys, I hear my baby talking next door. She's been saying, she doesn't know what she's saying, but she's been saying a lot of dad, 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 dad. Let me actually show you my wife. Yeah, yeah, here doing it right now. My wife sent me this video from earlier this afternoon. Let me find it, and I'll get back to the question. I'm sorry. I just want to play this for you guys real quick. Let me know if you can hear it. Can you guys hear that? You guys hear that? Anyway, so back to what I was saying. I think that just the enjoyment aspect makes it difficult to yeah, Thomas, it's true. Her room's right next to here. She's been talking a lot, and she's been making a lot of like like frustrated sounds. She's crying right now. She's not very happy. Yeah, exactly, Vasco. The baby saying Rollins is close to a buy. I want to talk about Rollins, so let's circle back to that. I'm actually going to save this so I don't forget. Um, but anyway, going back to the question, let me pull it back up on the screen, Seth. So going back to the question, no, it's okay. It's all good. It's funny. This is what happens on the live stream, guys. This is live action. This is real time. So what was the second thing? The first thing was actually enjoying investing, so that makes it difficult. And I think the second part of that is also knowing what a dollar can turn into when invested. I guess in other words, it's knowing like the value of an invested dollar and what that could compound into. I think once you start to learn about compound interest, it makes living life and spending money so much more difficult, because you kind of just weigh the opportunity cost of what that money could grow into if invested versus if it's spent on, you name it. And so I think that makes it difficult as well. But what has helped me, I suppose, and I don't spend a lot of money. Like my wife and I live very frugally. Um, do we just don't like feel the want to spend on a lot of things, which I guess is a whole nother thing I can talk about. But I think one thing that's helped me is being able to run the numbers. Like if you let's go over to the market beats. If you go up, pull up like a dividend calculator like this. Or let me hide the comment real quick so we get more screen time. And I see a super chat for $2. Thank you so much. We'll circle back to this. Question. And I actually saw, I think you asked this a few minutes ago, and I had it saved. So we'll circle back to this. But thank you so much for the super chat. But anyway, one other thing that's helped me is being able to just kind of reverse engineer the growth of my portfolio. So if I know, my portfolio right now, let's say 128,000, I don't, what am I investing every year? I think let me do the math real quick. Okay, 350 plus 144. So I'm investing about $500 a week. So I'm investing exactly 25,688 every year. My starting dividend yield right now is, let's see, 3.4%. Oops. So yeah, let's just say 3.3%. 0.3%. Let's say my dividend growth rate moving forward is going to average maybe 6%. Let's say the same thing for share price appreciation. I want to be a bit conservative. We're getting dividends every month. Yeah, we can leave the taxes the same, whatever. So let's forecast it out 20 years. If I just keep this up for 20 years, according to these inputs, I should have about $2 million in my portfolio by the time I'm 52 years old. And at this point should be bringing in $66,000 in dividends. Now that's based on these inputs. Reality could turn out to be totally different than this. I think this is a pretty conservative estimate. But I mean, if you even wanted to be more conservative, then we could certainly do that. Still, we'd end up with, and that's an 8.3% total return per year. I think that's achievable. $1.7 million, about 60K in dividends per year. So anyway, seeing this, like if I just continue on this path right now, this is where I should end up 20 years from now. And being able to see those numbers and being able to kind of forecast the future based on very conservative inputs, I think makes me feel a bit better about spending money outside of my portfolio. Because as long as I can maintain this, as long as I can maintain the $500 per week contribution, which once again is something that I love to do, you don't have to twist my arm to invest money. So as long as I can maintain this, I mean, anything above that is bonus. Anything above that is fair game. Which also means that anything outside of that, if I want to allocate my money elsewhere outside of that, I should have the freedom to do so, because what I need to do is taken care of already. I've already budgeted. I've already accounted for the $500 per week going into the portfolio. And I know that this is what it's going to look like, if not more, hopefully more. So I think that if you run the numbers and you can kind of reverse engineer where you need to be in retirement, how long it's going to take you to get there, how much you need to contribute to get there as well, and you've come up with a plan that works for you, I think hopefully that should make it a bit easier to spend money. Hopefully you're a bit more okay with spending money outside of your portfolio. But the third thing I was going to bring up, sorry to harp on this, but I think this is a really important question. I think another thing too that's been very helpful is like I was saying, we really don't want to spend money on a lot of different things. The things that we want to spend money on, like our splurge things, are like good coffee beans for home. We'll either buy Starbucks beans or Pete's. It's like 20, 25 bucks every few weeks, couple of weeks. So that's like not a big deal. And then every so often we like to get froyo. That's kind of been our thing lately is once a week or once every other week, we'll go get froyo. So, but outside of that, it's like a lot of our time is spent, or like hobbies, I suppose. Like this stuff is a hobby for me. The stock stuff is a hobby. Making these YouTube videos is a hobby. I spend a lot of time doing this. So this is kind of like my fun activity as well. Outside of this, my wife and I are both very active. We're both big into running, and this is kind of fun. Our baby's now big enough that we can actually use our jogger. So that's kind of been our morning routine these past couple of mornings, is going out for runs together. That's been awesome. And I can't wait to continue that. But anyway, all of that's to say we have pretty cheap hobbies. And so I think that really helps as well. So then when there is something you actually do want to spend money on, hopefully because you're so disciplined or you're doing good in every other aspect of your life, your financial life, hopefully you allow yourself, those little splurge items every so often when they come about. So I guess at the end of the day too, to really wrap this up, it's all about balance. And what that balance looks like is going to be different for everyone. And I think you'll naturally settle into yours over time. I would say don't be afraid to spend money every so often, but I think a lot of us investors, we know not to go overboard with spending, because we know that cuts into investing money, and that's like priority numero uno for a lot of us. So I think you'd have a hard time like spending all of your money. And in finding that balance, that's the two ends of the spectrum. It's investing all of your money and it's spending all of your money. And so I think that all of us investors tend to lean on this side of the spectrum a bit more. So you kind of have to pull yourself back to center a little bit. But I don't think you'll ever, like, going too overboard on that is not likely for a lot of us, I think. So yeah. So I mean, like I said, everyone's got their splurge things. Adam says we like to travel. Um, Yeah, I mean, this is exactly it right here. I don't feel like I'm sacrificing a lot to invest. I like my lifestyle. I enjoy buying stocks. Spot on. I feel the exact same way. So, yeah, someday a Happy Meal will be 20 bucks. There you go. What do we say? What else do we say? Yeah, Adam says, figure out how much you need to live off of and then put away as much as you can as quickly as possible to receive that in dividends. Yeah. And that's probably going to be a moving target. Like if you're a younger person, you'll have to adjust that number over time, naturally so, just because life tends to get more complicated and expensive. And obviously inflation will have an impact as well. So yeah, I think it'll end up being a moving target. But part of your job in all of this is to not get too carried away with like, don't let life get too complicated financially if you can help it. There's some things that you just can't control, but the things that are within your control, try to maintain those. Yeah, Chris says we are 6K away from 100,000 subscribers. I know, man. And thank you guys all so much for the support on the channel. We've been doing this now for about 5.5 years. I started posting videos like mid-October 2020. And it's been quite an adventure. It's been quite a ride. And yeah, thank you guys. I don't want to be too sappy about it. But it really does mean a lot. Thank you guys for all of the support. It's been crazy. If you would have told me 6 years ago I'd be doing this, I would not have believed you. Yeah, Joe's got a good question. Why isn't everyone a dividend investor? We'll circle back to that. Okay, so guys, let's keep going. Seth, great question. Thank you again. We've got that super chat. Let's get to that one. $2 super chat. I have $8,000 to use on Microsoft, Visa, and MasterCard. Any thoughts? Well, I will say I don't have any specific thoughts as to how you should allocate that 8 grand. I think that's 100% your decision. I think that's something that you'll need to determine for yourself. But I like all of those companies. I think those are all great companies to invest in. I think it's a pretty solid time to buy all of those. I do think it's possible that all 3 of those companies could continue coming down in share price here in the short term. And so I would be careful about how quickly you deployed that $8,000, maybe average in a bit. But I like your plan to buy one of those or buy all of those. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's much more I can add. I like it. I think those are great businesses. So, okay, what else we got here, guys? We've got, yeah, GE. Tony wants us to look at GE, General Electric. So we'll look at that. I want to pull it up on Snapstock as well. So let's go over here. So let's go start here with Snapstock. Do you want I'm guessing you don't want the aerospace one. What's the other? I mean, interestingly, so here on Seeking Alpha, it just says General Electric Company. What am I missing here? I mean, is it just now Aerospace? What's the right ticker? GEV? Thanks, Dave. Okay. I knew that there was some sort of separation, but I didn't realize that they changed the name to this. So Joey's got a question about a Roth. We'll circle back to that, Joey. Thank you for the question. But let's go through this one. So GEV, and let's see. Let's pull it up on Seeking Alpha as well here. So we'll check it out here. Okay, so based on this, sales go back to 2021. Decent sales growth over the past few years. Earnings growth has been okay. Started out negative. It's now positive. Same thing with the free cash flow. Margins are improving, negative net debt, solid dividend growth. And we'll check it out on Seeking Alpha too, because this really isn't giving us too much. So if we go over here to Seeking Alpha, looking at the charts. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's pretty similar, right? So they just became profitable. Low payout ratio. 125. I mean, the payout ratio is super low. Do they really have negative net debt? I mean, huge cash, a lot of cash, almost $9 billion in cash. Yeah, negative net debt. Only $1.2 billion of total debt. That's looking good. Cash from operations is growing pretty nicely, I would say. Like really solid cash from operations growth. Yeah. Yeah, I think so far this is looking really good. Free cash flow growth per share has been really solid too. So I think so far GEV's off to a great start. Crazy share price returns. Low yield. We'll see what the dividend growth ends up being too over time. But yeah, I mean, these are pretty crazy returns. Power, wind, and electrification. Yeah, so I think it's cool. I think this is definitely a good one to keep an eye on. It's in the industrial sector, right? Yeah. So I'm going to add this one to the watch list actually. What about just GE? What about the aerospace company? Let's take a look at that one real quick since we're talking about this stuff. So oh, okay. Not GEV. Okay. Okay, so let's check out just GE then, which is telling a different story. So right off the bat, the first thing I noticed, sales have, I mean, going into 2022, it was pretty much down every single year. They've since started to recover. Um, but how much of this was like, is this adjusted for the spinoff? That I don't know. But I will say, I mean, everything since 2022 is looking to be going in the right direction. Yeah, net income's kind of flatlined over the past couple of years, few years, 2023, 2024, 2025. Earnings per share is growing pretty nicely, though, as we can see over the past few years. It's looking good. Payout ratio is also very low, 16%, almost 17%. So, yeah, about 12 billion in cash. Cash position does look to be dwindling some. Total assets is really going down as well. Yeah, and debt doesn't look terrible. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Debt, the net debt had really come down. I mean, they have 21 billion in total debt, 9.5 in net debt. So let's check out the free cash flow situation. A lot of cash from operations. That's looking pretty good. Free cash flows, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, so what did they have? Was it 9.5 billion in net debt, 5.2 in free cash flow in the trailing 12 months. So net debt to free, excuse me, net debt to free cash flows about 2 or below. So I think that's a good spot. Yeah, I think the free cash flow growth looks pretty decent too. So it definitely could be worse. What's the dividend situation looking like? Okay, so low yield as well. Payout ratio is looking good. 50, almost a 51% growth rate, 3 years of growth. So I think the dividend stats look pretty good too. I don't expect that they'll maintain a 50% dividend growth rate, but Um, yeah, it's still looking good. But even this right here, that's an 11%. That's still like a 30% increase year over year. So, yeah, I think this one's looking decent as well. That one's already on the watch list, actually. So, okay. Yeah, I think General Electric's looking pretty interesting. This one hasn't seen as much of a run up as GEV has. Um, but yeah, interesting company. Nice dividend growth. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now let's check out TKO. Yeah, it's done extremely well for me, but I'm thinking of trimming, maybe selling. And let me know too if you guys have any thoughts on this, trimming or selling TKO. Let's check it out. Okay. So TKO, yeah, it's up 25% in the past year. PE ratios 35, 36. Do they pay dividend? I think they do, right? Yeah. Ooh, payout ratio is not looking good though. Payout ratio is not looking good. Dividend growth is the growth rate's looking great. Yield's okay, 1.6%. 0 years of growth. I don't think they cut the dividend. Okay, it looks like, well, yeah, I guess they did. Looks like they did actually. They cut it for maybe about a year. If I'm reading that right. Yeah, it looks like they cut it for about a year. So, but anyway, let's go through some of the financials. Just run through the charts real quick. Really solid sales growth. Here, let's do it on Snapstock actually. Here. See what they got cooking up over here. Yeah, nice snap score, 6.3. Yeah, pretty decent. Looks like debt's maybe questionable, but we'll check that out. So really solid revenue growth, couple of tough earnings per share years, but free cash flow per share hung in there. I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah, no surprise the net profit margin was down those couple of years. Gross margins pretty decent, still above 50%. I'm guessing this was like not accurate. And yeah, I think margins a bit spotty. Net debt to free cash flow is looking good. Interest coverage is very low though, so that is definitely a red flag. But the net debt to free cash flow looks to be in good shape. So they've got about $3 billion of net debt. Yeah, like I said, interest coverage is very low. Dividends are interesting. I'm wondering if they paid special dividends here. That would be my guess. We'll check that out on Seeking Alpha. Yeah, shares outstanding have been a bit all over the place. But yeah, I'm guessing these are special dividends. We'll check that out. But I don't know. It's okay. Like there's some solid growth here, right? Except for 2023 and 2024. But otherwise, the revenue growth, the free cash flow growth, I think looks pretty good. I was going to look at the dividends, the special dividends. So it should tell us over here. No, they just raised it. They just raised it a crazy amount. Okay. I know we already looked at this, but I already forgot. So yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's obviously an interesting business. WWE, UFC, that type of entertainment certainly has its fans, and it has its very loyal fans for sure. So I think that's a pretty big competitive advantage for them. I'm personally not a big UFC or WWE guy, but I know people who are just diehard fans. So yeah, I think interesting business. And I think too, one thing I will say that just kind of came to mind before we switch gears, I think this is an interesting business in thinking about, ones that maybe would be more resilient and not disrupted by AI. It's possible that as AI and tech, become even more ingrained in our lives than they already are, it's very possible that people will crave in-person experiences even more, instead of talking to ChatGPT all the time. I think people will begin to crave in-person conversation and experiences probably even more. And so I think that if that turns out to be the case, I think a company like TKO could certainly benefit from that. And I know that they're not just in-person events, but even um, people have UFC watch parties all the time, or bars do. Same with WWE. So I think that it's an interesting play from that perspective as well. Um, Anders, that's funny. Interacting with people suck. Long live the AI. I think you're just interacting with the wrong people, my friend. Yeah. So Trevon here says, any thoughts on General Mills? Every time I've looked at General Mills, I think it's been okay. I think we'll see, because I don't quite remember the financials off the top of my head, but I think every time I look at it, I come away thinking I'd probably sooner buy something like the Hershey Company. That's kind of what I remember thinking about General Mills, but let's see. I mean, Snap scores 5.5. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is already is why. I mean, sales, they were going up a bit, but they've started to retract. So seems like they're having trouble growing. Mature consumer staples business. That's maybe not all too surprising. That's probably a fitting thing for this kind of business. But earnings per share is kind of done a similar thing. It's kind of started to take steps backwards ever so slightly over the past few years. Kind of looks like free cash flow per share, even though it's had its ups and downs, it does kind of look like it is slightly sloping downward. And like I said, this is a very mature business. It's been around for a long time. But I do think, generally speaking, you don't want to see your companies, you don't want to see their fundamentals dwindling. That's not a good thing. You don't want these melting ice cubes, as Russ would call them, which I think is a great way to describe it. Scrolling down, margins tend to look to be pretty steady, I will say. Gross margins hovering in the mid 30s, net profit margin in the low teens. Free cash flow margin does look like it is sloping downward over the past handful of years. So that's not ideal. Simultaneously, over the years, the net debt to free cash flow has been going up. So that's not great. It's gone from 3.8 at its lowest in 2020 to now 8 in the trailing 12 months, or 6.5 in 2025. So I don't think that's great. The interest coverage ratio has started to decline. Now it's at 6. It's a bit lower than where I'd like to see it. The situation's not completely dire, but I don't think it's ideal. With that, though, and I suppose here's the draw to General Mills right here. The dividend yield has been pushed up to over 6%. Right now it's sitting at 6.5%. They do look like they've been a pretty consistent dividend grower over the years. It doesn't look like this growth rate's been very fast at all, about 4.4% over the past 5 years, about 3% over the past 10. However, with that said, I do think hypothetically, let's say that you locked in a position right now, you bought in at a 6.5% yield, and they were able to maintain a 3% dividend growth rate on top of that. I actually don't think those are terrible dividend stats when you put those two together. Higher yield, low but existing growth, and the dividend for the most part looks to be pretty well covered. The payout ratio is going up. It's about 60%, looking at both the earnings and free cash flow payout ratio. So the dividend's pretty well covered. But yeah, I don't really mind the dividend stats. And once again, I think that's probably the draw, but that's really about the only thing about General Mills that jumps out to me. Otherwise, I don't really like the debt situation. I don't really like what I'm seeing in the revenue, earnings per share, or free cash flow charts either. I think they'll probably continue to pay a steady dividend for the time being, but I do think at some point, if the financial trajectory continues like it is, I think it's probably going to end up being a problem for the dividend. So I don't know. I don't exactly know what to make of that. Let me know what you guys think about General Mills here in the chat as well. I'm curious. I am curious. Yeah, this is a good question about Clear Secure. We'll add that one and see if we can get to it. We've got about 15 minutes left in the stream here, so yeah, this is a good question about stock diversification too. So okay, but Vasco here says, I hear the baby says Rollins is close to a buy. I wish. It's getting there. So let's check out Rollins. Right now, actually, I'm glad you brought up Rollins. So now it's sitting at $53.26. It's really seen a big drop over the past month. It's down close to 13% according to Snapstock here. It really wasn't that long ago that we saw Rollins up in the mid 60s. And I guess I'm so torn when it comes to this stock right now. I love the direction the share price is heading. I kind of had a feeling that it was, I mean, I kind of had a feeling that it had to at some point start to see some sort of a pullback. And what it would take was some sort of market-wide chaos for that to occur. So I guess I'm not entirely too surprised to see it down in the mid to getting into the low 50s. I still think for me, I still think for me it's a bit too expensive. Think that I still think that somewhere below 50 or somewhere in the mid 40s is a much more appropriate price to pay for Rollins. I even think you could make the argument that even at that point, even if it dropped another 10 or 12% from here, it would still be very richly valued. And it's a premium business, no doubt about that. So it shouldn't be like, bargain barrel cheap, but I mean, it's the PE ratio is close to 50. The free cash flow yield is only 2.5%. So in the dividend yield right now at 1.25% is just like right there above the 5-year average. So I still think it has room to come down before it looks really attractive. So far, patience has paid off, at least recently. I'm hoping it will continue to do so. But yeah, I'm watching this one like a hawk. And I think if it gets under 50, I would seriously entertain starting a position then. Mid 40s, without a doubt, I would certainly start a position. If we still get to 45, 46, yeah. But if it's like 49.99, it'd be hard to say no even then. So even if it gets below 50, that's when you might see me start the position and slowly build it out from there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with Rollins right now. But it's a very fluid situation, so. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It'd be a great way to sell my first cash secured put. So yeah, $45 a share, I'd need what, $4,500 in cash to sell my first cash secured put. Yeah, that might be something to consider actually. That might be something to consider, Tony. I actually hadn't thought about that. Okay, so this is an interesting question. Let's see. No, so in that situation, I would not cut another position. I'd keep all my other positions and just start a new one in Rollins. So this is an interesting question, I think, from Joe. Joe says, why isn't everyone a dividend investor? And I think this is such a tough, should be the first buy in the Babe's custodial account. So the Babe actually already has a custodial account. She's full S&P 500. She's all in on SPYM, and she actually just got her first dividend. What was it? Let me tell you. She just got her first dividend earlier this week. I'll pull it up on Schwab. I think it was for maybe like a few cents. It wasn't anything crazy, but pretty cool. So in her custodial, she's already got $670. She's living large. 7 shares of SPYM. Oh no, excuse me, guys. She actually got, let me see if it'll show us, $1.30. Hopefully you guys can see that. $1.36 in dividends. Yeah, that's great. So good for her. So I'm putting $100 into her custodial account every month, excuse me. And I'm putting $100 into her 529 every month as well. So yeah, let's get to this question. What do you guys think? Yeah, so as a sidebar too, even if you get to 30 positions on your portfolio, yeah, I'm still a bit a ways away from 30 positions. I only have, I think, 18 individual companies right now. So yeah. And I'm at a point too where I don't, like, maybe I'll get up to 30 at some point, but it's going to take a long time for me to get up to 30 positions. I would have to go on a buying rampage to get up to 30 positions. And I wouldn't I would only feel comfortable, not comfortable, but I'd only be interested in having that many positions if my portfolio was considerably larger than where it's at right now. So I think as my portfolio grows in size, I'll probably expand the number of holdings, but I think it's in a good spot right now. But anyway, back to this, guys. Keep getting distracted. Why isn't everyone a dividend investor? I think it's a few reasons. I think that, gosh, and I feel like I'm going to turn this into a tangent, so I apologize in advance. I guess that's what this whole stream is anyway, right? It's just a series of random tangents. So, where to begin with this question, though? I think when it comes to investing, like a lot of other things, people have different preferences because people are different. They have different temperaments, different life experiences, different goals with their portfolio, different risk tolerances. Every individual is unique in their own ways. And you see that show up in how, not only how they invest, but how they behave with their money as a whole. It extends beyond your portfolio to your entire financial life. So everyone behaves differently when it comes to their money. And this is certainly true in their portfolio. So I just think just because the simple fact that people are different, that's why not everyone is a dividend investor. But I think that's what makes the world go round, right? Everyone has a different method to the madness, a different way of doing things. And I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool to know that there is more than one way to build wealth. There is, as I like to say, there's more than one way to skin the cat. Sorry, Peanut. Which is why I think it's so I don't want to say frustrating, but I think sometimes it's frustrating, but that's why I think it's so silly to see so many debates about, I don't know, I guess people tearing down others' investment strategies or way of going about things. I think it really should be, and maybe this is just how I approach life in general, but I think it really should just be a live and let live situation. How people decide to invest in their portfolio. As long as you're making money and as long as it is helping you achieve the specific goal that you as a unique individual are trying to achieve with in your wealth building efforts, as long as you're doing those things, I don't know what more anyone could ask for or should expect from you. Somehow, though, people do. You can't make everyone happy, that's for sure. Certainly experienced that as a YouTuber in the dividend investing space. But I do think it's interesting too that we dividend investors are often kind of the butt of a lot of jokes or on the receiving end of a lot of criticism. Maybe some of it's deserved sometimes with certain types of dividend stocks, but I don't think it's fully warranted. And once again, I think it's kind of a waste of time to talk down on how others decide to do what they're doing. But maybe to Jose's point, actually to some of your guys' points, these are some other great points. Mine was a bit more of a woo-woo type answer, but you guys, came in with some good specifics. So different personalities for sure, kind of touched on that. I feel like it depends on your age and the goals, short-term and long-term, 100%. Yeah, exactly. Everyone is different. This is part of the reason too. It's boring. It is boring. Dividend investing is boring. But then it begs the question, well, is investing supposed to be exciting? Is it supposed to be some sort of thrill ride? Is it supposed to be this exhilarating thing every single day? Do you want it to be a roller coaster? Is that what it's even supposed to be? Is the stock market intended to be akin to a casino? No. I think it was Monish Pabrai. I just talked about this in a video. I don't even know if I put the video out yet. I think I did. But Monish Pabrai said good investing is like watching paint dry or something like that. And it's true. I think to be a long-term investor, like you have to be willing to endure the boredom. And yeah, because that's where the magic is, right? I mean, if time and compounding will do the heavy lifting, but it's only going to happen over an extended period of time. And in those in-between moments while you're waiting for that to happen, it's just kind of a lot of sitting around twiddling your thumbs. But I think that's great. I actually think that's one of the great things about this style of investing, because you don't have to be so tuned into your portfolio every single day. And I think, the chaos that we're seeing right now is a great example of that. Like, you don't really have to, I mean, sure, just make sure your portfolio is not going up in flames, I suppose, or there isn't anything serious happening. But there's always short-term things impacting the market, and I do find it to be, I guess, a bit refreshing to know that I don't have to really concern myself with every little thing that happens. It doesn't really matter for what I'm trying to do in my portfolio. In fact, as we've talked about, it can actually help you. So maybe that's the reason why you should be tuned into certain things to know how to take advantage of them. Yeah, this is a great point as well. Kind of similar one. Jose says reasons why people aren't dividend investors because it's hard. It requires a lot of work and requires a lot of discipline. That is rare. That is true. That is very true. Yeah, I'm thinking she must to do day trader to know how much. Okay. Okay, I'm thinking. Yeah, I think the takeaway from this one is that day trading, while it is exciting, it's a much greater thrill ride. The chances of making money, statistically are a lot less. Jose, good job with the run, man. How far did you go tonight? Let us know. Give us the stats. Yeah, Vasco, this is a great point as well. Some people have concerns with taxes, different countries prefer to focus on more growth stuff, eventually seeing more money more fast. Yeah. Yeah, I think that, taxes certainly play a role as well. Um, the way I see it though, I think you're going to pay taxes anyway at some point, right? Like you're going to pay taxes when you go to sell your holdings and lock in whatever capital gains you have. But then people say, well, it's different because when you're taxed on dividends, those taxes happen, every single year, which is true. But I don't know about you guys, and this probably just speaks to how my portfolio is not big enough yet. But I personally just pay my taxes all out of pocket. I set aside my quarterly estimates and then make up the difference if I really need to at the end of each year. And or when I pay my final tax bill for the year, but um, it's never been a problem at all. And so, like every single dividend gets reinvested. Like the tax side of things gets just taken out of my checking account or my savings account. I set aside money for taxes there. So the compounding, like the tax drag, d- technically has not impacted my portfolio because every dividend has been reinvested, every profit, realized profit has been reinvested as well. And that might change down the road as the portfolio gets larger and the income gets larger. And I maybe I feel the need to start setting aside some of the dividend income for taxes, but I feel like I'm still so far away from that point. And I've got great CPAs, so I think I can cross that bridge down the road when I get there. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a great point too. Dividend investing it can certainly be less stressful, especially during times like this where share prices are going down because you're not as reliant on the share price to see the returns in your portfolio. So I think that's a huge underrated benefit. Like I don't know, I haven't seen any dividend investor freaking out about what's going on right now. I think typically when these things happen, a lot of us are cool as a cucumber. Dude, this is awesome. Got me running again. That's the kind of influencer I'm looking for. I love that, man. I'll tell you what, and I think we're going to go a little bit over in the stream tonight. I have been like this close to starting a running channel. Um, yeah, I've been this close to starting a channel where I document my runs. Ari was actually in Vegas earlier this week. We got in a run together. We got to spend a lot of time together this week, and I'm going to see him actually next week on my trip. And I'm going to vlog that trip as well too, guys. It's going to be a really, really fun video. I'm super excited to make that one and show you guys everything. Um, but I'm like this close to starting. Have been this close to starting a running channel. Ari's got this great camera. It's the DJI Osmo Pocket, I think is what it is, and it's just one of those like smaller cameras. It's got like a stabilizer on it. It kind of looks like a little tripod actually. So it's already got a stabilizer and everything, and he was running with it. The footage was super smooth. It comes with a clip-on mic. So it's like it has everything you need to get up and running with that sort of stuff. Much easier, be much easier to run with that than my little Sony camera right here. But I've really been thinking about starting another channel where I document that stuff. And I actually think now that we have the jogger and my wife and I are running together a lot, I thought that would be really fun, just a fun channel to have. We'll see if I end up doing it. I'd love to, and I think it's something that I'll have in my back pocket at some point. I think I'll do it, but I feel like I just have so many different things on my plate right now that I don't want to. I don't feel like it's a good idea to add anything extra at the moment, but we'll see. It's definitely something I'd love to do. Yeah, great job. Started running this winter. I love that. And with that said, if you guys are, if you guys are ever in Vegas and want to get a run in together, let me know. Be really fun. Running down on the strip is always a good time. Yeah, and Ari and I have talked about doing some races too. He's trying to get freaky with it and go to like France or go to Costa Rica and run, but I'm trying to stay more continental for now. But yeah, I think something that, and my wife wants to do this as well. We've really talked a lot about doing the Hawaii Marathon, and so maybe next year we'll do that. But I think it'd be really fun to just plan a big run, or plan to all be at a race together and run a race together. Anyone who wants to join, I think that'd be a good time. Okay, let me get caught up in the chat here. Okay, there you go, 5K. There you go. Oh, 2.5K. Yeah, there you go. Good job, man. Yeah, running definitely has become more popular, and I know the weather right now, it's actually been nice. You can still go in like the early mid-afternoon, and I mean, it's hot. The UV index is starting to get high, and yeah, you definitely are getting a tan out there, but I think that's fun. But yeah, I remember last summer, it didn't really get to me. The heat didn't really get to me, I would say, until towards the end of the summer. Then it kind of got to a point where running in the heat would really just take it out of me. Probably just not being hydrated enough. Totally my problem, but it is something you have to be careful about. Nice, Striper. Yeah. Live on the East Coast, close to a beach, so I run there. Okay, that's great. Okay, guys, let's keep going. We've got a few more questions, a couple quick ones. Yeah, so this one's from Joey. This was a really good question. So I know you dollar cost average into your Roth. This year, I aggressively invested to reach the maxed ASAP. Once I get there, the rest of the year, it all goes to the taxable account. Thoughts on this strategy? I think that's a great strategy. I think I think that's a pretty common strategy. I see a lot of other people doing that as well. Just max out the Roth right away, get it done, get it taken care of. I don't have any issues with that. I personally dollar cost average every week um, into the Roth, into my Roth. Um, but yeah, I think you could go either way. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really have any serious thoughts on it. But I think that's yeah, I think that's a totally fine strategy. So do it at the end of the day, do what works for you, man. Oh, okay. Sorry, Jose. I read yeah, I'll get to Clear Secure in a moment. I read your comment wrong. Couch to 5K is an app to get you back into running. I'm on day 2 of the program. I did 2 miles in 30 minutes. Okay, got it. Got it. That's very cool. So how many days is the program? Is it like a 30-day program? What's kind of the yeah, what are some of those details? That's interesting. Oh, Striper is this is no joke. I run on the beach with a weight belt where I hook up 12-foot lengths of chain on both sides. That's crazy. The chain and they're dragging in the sand. Oh my gosh. The chains weigh around 30 pounds and I drag them as I jog. Dude, you must have some serious legs. I bet you're fast too. Okay, so back to Clear Secure. It had a big rally. I'm up nearly 90% overall. I think it's still below fair value. What are your thoughts? So Clear right now is in the mid 40s, I believe. Pull back up on the screen. Clear Secure, I believe, is in the, okay, it's actually in the high 40s, close to 50. So, I actually want to look at it on Seeking Alpha. Okay, so yeah, it's up like 80% in the past year. I mean, we talked about the pop, excuse me, last month. Great earnings. Forward PE ratio is 27. So not bad, right? Like this is way lower than Rollins PE ratio, like way, way, way lower. Great dividend raised by 20%. If we look at the valuation right now, I mean, Seeking Alpha gives them a D. I don't know why. I never trust this rate. I don't really trust their grades too much. I don't even know how they come up with the grades sometimes. Price to free cash flow is not bad. 13. What did the free cash flow yield say on Snapstock? 7%? Yeah, in the trailing 12 months, 7.3%. Looks like the forward free cash flow yield is 9.25%. So just based on that, I think that just based on the free cash flow yield, I would say, yeah, it's probably at a pretty good price still. However, if we look at the dividend yield, the forward dividend yield is 1.6%. That's quite a bit lower than the company's 5-year average yield. So looking at that, maybe it's not at the best valuation. So I don't know. I think from a long-term perspective, yeah, I'm planning to hold because I think the share price will continue to go up from here at some point. It'll have its ups and downs in the meantime, but I think, yes, I think at some point we will see the share price higher than $48.12. Here's the thing, though, with Clear Secure. The share price is quite a roller coaster. At least ever since I've owned it, I've seen it have numerous ups and downs. Like I started buying, I don't remember exactly when, somewhere right in here, maybe, it was in the mid to low. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I think it was even higher. I think it was right around here. I think it was in the mid to high 30s. And then soon after I bought it, what happened? It dropped down into the 20s, got really low. Even, I mean, as low as 22 around this time last year. And then it popped back up, got close to the 40s, and then it dipped below again, got back down into the 20s a little bit. And then it popped back up into the 40s, low 40s once again. And then it dipped back into the 20s, back into the low 30s. And then it ended up popping back up again to where it's at now. So all of that is to say, like, I wouldn't be surprised, even though I think this is a great business, I would not be surprised if the share price at least got back down into the 30s from here. That would not surprise me at all. It was so recent that it was just there. Like I can't help but think that at some point it's going to, just because of how volatile the share price is and how much I've seen it move since I've owned it and fluctuate, I can't help but think it's going to fluctuate down at some point. I don't know when, and I could totally be wrong about that. I don't know. The share price is just all over the place. There's still a pretty big short interest on this stock as well. And so I think that will continue to put downward pressure on the share price for now. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with the share price. But like I said, I would not be surprised if it dipped. Okay. Okay. So you run. Sorry. Now I'm back on running. I think we need to start a running channel at some point, guys. It probably would be minimal editing, just kind of like just running raw footage, at least at first, if I did it. Okay, so Jose says you run 3 times a week. Okay. And after 9 weeks, you should be able to run a 5K in under 30 minutes. Nice. Done it before and it works for me. I always tend to fall off around Christmas and Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's always a tough time. The winter time's usually harder to run anyway. It's just you just don't want to be outside as much. You want to be cozy. You want to be bundled up, and so it's a bit more difficult to run during the winter. Striper Kid, have a good weekend. Okay, Craig ran 5 miles. I run almost every day. I love it. Yeah, I'd say I'm the same at this point, man. I probably run 5 to 6 days a week. I mean, and I have to force myself to take the 7th day off. The thing about running too is if you're running, more zone 2, if you're just going at a nice conversational pace, it's not really going to put a lot of wear and tear on your body And so it's easy to kind of just maintain a consistent running schedule from that. Yeah, I mean, this is spot on. We like healthy bodies to go with our healthy portfolios. I think if you want to be around for a long time to be able to watch your portfolio continue to compound and be able to, um, benefit from the fruits of that sacrifice for a long time, I think you owe it to yourself to take care of yourself, to stay healthy however you can. I think that longevity is important, is certainly important, like in all aspects of investing, like physical longevity and also like having longevity in your portfolio, not doing things that are going to blow up your portfolio. So I think the two really go hand in hand. Yeah, you've got enough of us interested in running to have a viewer base for a new channel. I would love that. Oh, that would make me so happy if I started a running channel and you guys actually watched it. Because that's kind of the concern is you start doing something like that that's not related to the main thing, which is obviously investing, and it doesn't it doesn't get any viewership. And I'm not afraid to like start over at something. I feel like I don't know, I'm not afraid to do those things. If I had that fear, I wouldn't have started this channel in the first place. But then there's the opportunity cost too. It's like, well, I could start that other thing, but then that takes away from the main thing. So would I be better off just putting more energy into this channel? And so I don't know. I also don't want to overthink it though. I also kind of think if it sounds like fun, you should just do it. Just do it for that reason. You don't need to turn every single thing into a new job. But that's easier said than done because everything that you can do can turn into something. I mean, this channel started out as just a hobby, and it still is a hobby, but it's also a job, but it's a fun job. Okay. So that was clear, secure. I have one more question saved. Yeah. Do you think having 30 stocks, yeah, worst case scenario is not too bad. Do you think having 30 stocks is a lot? I let me put it back up. Sorry. I think it really depends. It depends on a few things, and I think I just wrote about this in the newsletter, in the Q&A section. I think that yeah, I think 30 stocks can be a lot depending on a few different things. I think first and foremost, it depends on the size of your portfolio. If you're someone who's got a couple $1,000s invested, 5,000 invested, 10,000, even 20,000. If you have a relatively small portfolio, I think 30 stocks might be a bit overkill. If they're all individual companies, I think it's different if you're investing in ETFs. And I know it's like you buy an ETF, it's by SCHD, you get 100 stocks. So isn't that too diversified? Yes, but the difference is like that's passively managed. You're not managing that. 30 individual companies that you've handpicked yourself is a different story. And so I think if you have a relatively small portfolio, that's probably a bit too many. And I say that as someone who had about that many stocks when he first started investing. I loaded the boat. I had a ton of different holdings. And over time, I found myself selling out of a fair amount of those. And going a bit heavier, excuse me, into the ones that I ultimately decided were more up my alley as far as investments. So, but some of those early investments, some of those initial ones I still have today, I just don't have a lot of them. So I think you'd find yourself like consolidating eventually at some point. Um, but yeah, I think if you have a small portfolio, it doesn't necessarily make sense to have that to be that spread out. Because 30 individual companies is a lot to keep track of. And I think that's the other variable here is you have to ask yourself, how many stocks can I realistically keep tabs on a regular basis? Come earnings season, like how many earnings calls realistically can I actually listen to and keep up with, and presentations can I go through? Because that's all part of the name of the game. If you're going to be investing in individual companies, I think that should be like the minimum that you do in keeping tabs on them. It's listening to the quarterly earnings calls and also at least like going through the presentations. You can go through the 10 Qs as well if you want to, or even just have like Chat GPT summarize them, I suppose. Like even that's something good to do, but still ask yourself, can I go through 30 different 10 Qs every single quarter? There's Peanut. There he goes. He's trying to open the door. There he goes. Good boy. And I think for a lot of people, that's going to be a lot. If if you're working a full-time job, if you have a family and stuff on top of that, it's going to be hard to keep track of that many holdings. I mean, even personally speaking, 18 is kind of a lot. I think I probably wouldn't add more at this point. Like at this stage in the game, I don't see myself wanting to have more than like 20 different positions in my Charles Schwab portfolio. Because yeah, it definitely does get to be a lot over time. But I do think with that said, on the other side of that, as your portfolio gets larger, I do think it does make sense to be a bit more diversified. Because I think as your portfolio gets larger and you've accumulated more wealth, I think it makes sense. And maybe like this is just personal thing, and this probably tells you something about my risk tolerance, what I'm about to say, and my temperament. I think as you accumulate more wealth, you want to do things to be a bit more protective of that wealth. And one really easy way to do that, within reason, obviously, like it could backfire, I suppose, if you diversify the wrong way. But I was going to say one easy way for you to be more protected is to be more diversified. With that said, there does reach a point of diminishing returns where more diversification doesn't really add anything and probably takes away from your returns. But from what I've seen, even with a lot of the professional fund managers, like the people that I look up to, even they say, like, managing multiple billions of dollars, even they say yeah, 20 to 30 is probably a good amount of holdings. Maybe sometimes they'll go up to 35, some even get up to 40, but that's like an obscene amount of money they're dealing with. So, but with that said too, like that's like a lot of this is just my personal preference and my personal experience. And as I said earlier, there's more than one way to skin the cat. So if you feel great having 30 different positions, if that's how you like to roll, if you're getting good returns with that diversification, then yeah, then just go with it. So that's, once again, that's kind of the beauty of this whole thing, is there's so many different ways to do it. Ooh. Last questions, and I got to hop off, guys. So I could see UNH making it into SCHD. I could totally see UNH being an addition. What's the dividend yield on UNH right now? It's got to be pretty up there. Zoetis possibly, but I don't think the yield is as competitive with Zoetis as some of the other potential candidates. So I don't know. I don't know if I could see Zoetis there in SCHD. Maybe not yet. I think the yield would have to be a bit higher. So, okay, UNH, 3.15% yield. Yeah, nice dividend growth rate. I could totally see UNH being in SCHD. What? So they're down 46% in the past year. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Diversity is an old wooden ship used during the Civil War era. Classic. I haven't watched Anchorman in I can't tell you how long. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. That's so funny, Joey. That made my night. So guys, this is a good place to wrap it up. Really long stream tonight, almost an hour and a half. I guess it makes sense because last week I was only on for about 30 or 40 minutes. So I owed you guys a bit longer of a stream tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming and bringing the great questions. It was awesome, as always, being able to chat with you and bounce some of these ideas around with you. If you haven't done so already, be sure to hit the thumbs up button on that stream one time if you haven't already done so. Let's see how many we're at right now. Let me go over to YouTube, guys. If we don't have 151 likes on this stream, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose it. I'm just going to lose it. Where are we at here? Okay, we're at 98, 99. Come on, guys. We can easily get 110. We can easily get 110. We're at 103 right now. While you guys are doing me that small favor, I hear the baby in the background too. While you guys are doing that, last couple of housekeeping things. I've got a video coming out on Sunday that's going to be pretty good. That one's going to be, I don't want to give away the topic yet, but I've got a video coming out first thing Sunday morning that's going to be great. Monday, once again, we've got a lot of great content coming out on Monday. As fast as I can get that video out, I'm going to put out a Reconstitution video. I'm probably going to get a lot of the info from Craig. So Craig, thank you from advance. I will be stalking your X account on Monday morning, first thing Monday morning. So yes, Monday SCHD video. Monday evening, we've got the SCHD Reconstitution live stream with Craig, aka SCHD Stan, and also my main man Russ over at Dapper Dividends. So it's going to be a really fun time. It's been too long since the three of us have gotten together. So yeah, a lot of great content coming out over the next handful of days, guys. And I hope you all enjoy it. YouTube's been, last thing I will say, and guys, we're at 118 likes right now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for helping give that boost. I think we could get to 130. I'm just saying there's 134 of us in the stream, but I wanted to say one other thing before we officially sign off. YouTube has been so, and I don't want to turn this into a tangent. YouTube has been so strange lately. YouTube's going through some pretty interesting changes I've noticed. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to make it a whole thing, but one of the big changes, and this might not come as a surprise to many of you guys, is they're really, really emphasizing shorts lately. So back in the day, if you even went back 6 months ago, maybe not even that far, you'd go to YouTube, and on the homepage, on the browse page, you'd be met with maybe like 6 to 10 long form video options. And then below the fold, you'd see like some shorts options, right? But you'd have to scroll down to find them. Nowadays, if you go to, we can actually test this out. Let me, go. Nowadays, if you go to YouTube, you'll see like maybe 3 or 4 long form videos. So instead of 6 to 10, now it's like 3 to 4. And like front and center below that is a stream of shorts. And I even think one of the long form videos is like an ad. So a lot of changes. All of that is to say, videos, it's hard to see. Yeah, let me see if I can share what I'm looking at. One sec. Stop that. So yeah, this is what we're looking at here. You guys see that? So, okay. Yeah, 3 long form videos, one of which is an ad. And then right here, front and center, you've got shorts. Then you have to scroll down a little more to see 3 more long form videos and then another row of shorts. And then you get a few more long form videos from there. So all of that is to say, the videos really are not being given the chance to be seen as much as usual. And I don't really know what my point in saying all of that. Oh yeah, my point in saying all of that was, it really means a lot when you do hit the thumbs up button on the videos, on the streams, because that is just a positive signal that hopefully helps the video get pushed out even more. And yeah, I don't know, just kind of a little inside baseball from a creator standpoint. So yeah, Google certainly knows their competitors for sure. But anyway, where are we at? 124. I'll take it. I will take it, guys. I want to thank you all so much again. Really fun stream. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. You guys stay out of trouble, and I will see you in the next one. You guys take care.